Hello and welcome to The Rare Agent, where we pull back the curtain on all things real estate. We're your hosts, Christina, Mary Jo, and Marae, offering up a judgment-free zone for collaboration over competition. We would love to welcome today's amazing guest, a waterfront real estate specialist in Muskoka, Haliburton, Kawartha Lakes, who loves to give back to her community through various charities, including her own organization, Finding the Beauty Within. And last but not least, the former two-time Miss Canadian Tourism, the amazing Holly Carrol.
Hi.
Hello.
That was a great intro. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Thank
good
you.
at that.
I read the whole thing. But it's all true. We do our research before we have our guests on, but you are amazing and we're love that you're here. So just getting into the beginning of it all.
Yep.
How long have you been in the business and why did you get into real estate?
Yeah. I've been in the business for 5 years on paper, but I actually like to say 3 years because that's sort of when it aligned and that's sort of when my real estate career blew up.
Okay.
Was when I moved to Muskoka.
Oh, amazing.
So I started in the beaches. Then I went to downtown Toronto. Didn't really have a lot of success. Couldn't really get the plane off the ground. And I know now why that was. It's because I was kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I wasn't really doing real estate. I wasn't surrounding myself with people that were doing real estate. Pandemic hit. I moved to Muskoka. And I thought I'll start my real estate career and it blew up. And the reason why I think it blew up is because it was really aligned. Like it is who I am. Like Muskoka is who I am. I live and breathe and sell the lifestyle.
Were you already in Muskoka before? Like, why did you go there?
Well, it's definitely an attractive place to go. And during the pandemic, I did a lot of driving around and I just found myself in Muskoka. Like, if anyone's been to Muskoka, it's a beautiful spot, right? Yeah. And I just thought to myself, like, why can't I be here? Why can't I live here? Why can't I sell here?
I love that.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have that much of a business to sort of say goodbye to. And it was like, I think a lot of people changed their careers during the pandemic because of that. They're like, you know, what do I really want? Do I want to work this job that I don't want to do? Do I want to live here?
I think that's the best part of the pandemic, honestly,
right?
just the pivot. People really seeing what's important.
Exactly. And it was like, well, what do you really want to do? You know?
And we're breaking free from old standards. Like you don't have to do everything the same anymore. The way we once did it doesn't have to be the way we move forward.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is when I got my real estate license, I wanted to sell in Muskoka, but it seemed like such a far-fetched idea because I was like,
it's big.
Is there even real estate agents there? Like I didn't even know how to start. Right?
Well, people always talk about cottage country being so slow, like it's such a different beast than the city.
Exactly. And I think a lot of even agents here sell there. So I didn't even know how to start. And because when I started, I wanted to, you know, be mentored by the great in the city, you know, like
amazing
Adam Stern, you know, those types of people. Like there's no Adam Sterns in Muskoka, you know, except for me, by the way.
It was unmarked territory.
It was kind of unmarked territory. And I mean, there was obviously agents that were selling there and a lot of them are just older and they, you know, they were involved in the community. So people were kind of giving them business. But when I came in with my boyfriend and we started the brokerage there, it was different than what people had seen.
You started real estate and a brokerage at the same time?
Yes.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
It's daunting.
So, exactly. But it wasn't. The funny thing was it wasn't. It was more relaxed than it had been here. And all I did was I just lived the lifestyle, showed off the lifestyle, went to different cottages and just posted it everywhere. And I was having a blast. People were seeing that and they were starting to ask questions.
It was genuine.
It was genuine.
I
Exactly.
think she found the joy. And I think
Yeah.
that's what
Joy.
really, that's what resonates with people.
Right? I didn't find the joy, you know, hunting for condos in the city. Like that just wasn't.
I don't know that
joyful
anybody
for me.
does, considering the parking situation.
Right?
It's a bit of an issue.
Don't worry, there's a whole bunch of parking in Muskoka.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And boat parking.
And it's just downtown condos. It's like, okay, how do we walk? How can we make this work? You know, and
You got to book the whole day.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
For
okay, I'm going to
condo
show you
showings
3
downtown.
properties. What time are we going at? Is there traffic? Okay, where
can we
are we
go at
parking?
11? And be done by like 1:32.
Yeah.
So we're just a
Yeah.
little bit of traffic.
And even now, to this day, like I still drive to showings and I like
With a boat this time?
Sometimes with a boat, but even the same roads. And I'm like so grateful. I'm like, wow, this is my job. This is where I live. Like, wow.
awesome.
And I don't think that'll ever go away.
Because you're living the lifestyle, you believe in the lifestyle. It's so easy for you. You have those nooks and crannies, and you know where people should go, and the it spots. Like for sure, it just goes hand in hand.
I think people are trying to sell a lifestyle, but they don't kind of live it or even believe it.
It's inauthentic.
It's inauthentic, right? Exactly.
What led you to real estate? What were you doing before?
I was an international model for 17 years, and then I joined a pageant, of course, and won Miss Canada Tourism. I think the beauty, the correlation between being a model and being in a real estate business is that it's sales, and you're selling yourself. I mean, there's a little bit more authenticity, I think, for real estate, but like I had to learn how to market myself. It was basically what I did. And that's what I do now is I market homes. I market myself in homes. I market the lifestyle. I market Muskoka.
And that's such a good point. You're not just selling a home, you're selling yourself.
Yeah.
And in fact, I don't even think we're selling the home. People know what they want.
Yeah.
Right? It's just we have to sell who we are and just kind of be authentic and put it out there.
I totally agree. And, you know, a lot of the things I sell are second homes. So people don't need them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
But I think they do. People need to get out of the city. They need to go on a hike. They need to get on the boat. They need to take their, like, it's so important, but people don't realize how important it is for their actual, like, life in general, like,
I think
for their
more
health.
more than ever,
Yeah.
people are starting to see it. It's just a question of, you know, showing them.
Is showing them that
Well, I
it
think the
can be made.
pandemic showed people that as well.
I agree.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I need a timeout. I need a
agree.
break. I need, like I think a lot of people were using the words mental health. Like I need to take a pause on this.
Yeah.
And, I had a lot of downs, but then there's a lot of ups on what had happened.
Yeah. I mean, so many people come to visit me and they leave, like for the weekend, and they leave and they're like, wow, I needed that. I can't believe how much I needed that.
I feel like you two are aligned because Maria actually works in Costa Rica.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And Muskoka and Costa Rica are so intertwined. Like everyone in Muskoka
Yes.
goes to Costa Rica in the winter.
Yeah, I had a feeling because it's
the same people.
everything you're
Same vibe.
saying is similar to that whole experience.
We've been going to Santa Teresa for like 8
It's
years.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it. I'm going in November.
All right. See you
No
there.
Sada. No
Yeah.
Sada.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to both. Yeah, they're very similar.
Yeah.
Right? You need it. Your soul needs it.
Well, when I go, I have two great tour guides.
Yeah,
I'm very
absolutely.
excited. So how's the Gravenhurst market going right now? Like, what is it like? What's the temperament like?
So the Muskoka market in a whole has certainly slowed down, but in my opinion, it's normalizing, right? What we went through was insane and it wasn't sustainable. Right now, it is a buyer's market. However, I haven't seen a lot of action. Things are staying on the market for a lot longer. I primarily deal with waterfront properties, which is a big difference in statistic-wise than residential homes. Okay. But in the waterfront home statistic, it slowed right down. Things are going for 100,000 to 300,000 under ask.
But are you finding it's a
under
lot of
ask?
Under ask.
Are you finding it's a bit of a standoff though between the sellers and the buyers right now?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's
And
what
we're
we're
cut
seeing.
in the middle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
The
like
hardest thing is to manage your seller's
I can wait.
expectations.
It's kind of reflective. It's happening in Toronto and in Costa Rica. Like it's all over.
Yeah. It really is the same. I can't tell you too much difference than what I've seen and what I've heard. And even on this podcast, you guys talk about that quite a bit. Like it's not that big of a difference. The only thing that could potentially hurt a real estate agent in the market is we only have so long to sell.
yeah.
So we really kind of have to get clever. And so we have to manage our seller's expectation and then just really make the place come alive. Like think about more buyers to see it.
Well, and how to get them in there.
And how to get them
what
in
is the
there.
strategy
Outside the
you
box.
use to get them in there?
Yeah, so this it's different strategies that I have used, particularly waterfront properties. I try and see the value moving forward. So can they have a rental income, vacancy rates, which also have gone down, but I still try and show them the numbers. Maybe buying it with somebody else. The good thing about Muskoka waterfront is it will never go down, down, down. You're not going to lose out. It's going to hold. It's going to be sustainable. It's going to hold its value
Well,
because
there's only
it's
so
still-
much waterfront property, right?
Correct.
So yeah,
Correct, right?
are people still renting them?
They're still renting them. That went for a bit of a nosedive up until about August and all of last year. because I think everybody realized, let's get out of here. You know, everyone's going to Europe. Right? You open your social media, everyone's in Europe because we couldn't go to Europe before, right?
Yeah.
So, but now people are like, okay, I still want to be in Muskoka.
Well, now the airports are a disaster. So they're like, okay, is it really worth it to travel? It's almost going back and forth.
Exactly. But there was some silly prices, like $10,000 to $20,000 a week to rent a cottage. Like, come on.
I'm even still seeing some silly prices, and I'm like,
but who's paying them?
Well, out of towners, like, you know, LA.
Like out of the country? Okay.
Out of the country.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're not getting as rented as much. So I have noticed the vacancy rate as well as the rental rate go down, but not like that was too much that they were offering anyways, right?
Yeah.
So
it's
everyone's
evening out the prices.
Yeah, and everybody's still winning, but there is a lot of people that bought in 2021. They overpaid. They bought it as a rental and saw the rental prices. So they're like, we're going to make this back. Now the rental prices have gone down and they want to sell it. Well, you're going to lose money if you bought in 2021 and you want to sell right now. Period.
Yeah, like what is the conversation like with those sellers?
Well, typically I ask them why we're selling.
Yeah.
Why are we selling in the first place? And then I can provide a solution. But a lot of people in those situations just want to make money because it's probably why they did it in the first place.
So they think they're going to they'll still sell at a profit at this point.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so what if you show them that they're not going to make a profit? How do they handle it?
Well, the couple times they've gone to another agent that's lied to them. And then they come back. On the market. They always come back, right?
Well, it's better not to lie to them.
Well, you can't. You know what? We've all probably done that. It costs too much money. And we've all done that. And even with the statistics that I'm telling them and the market value, it still may not sell.
Yeah.
You know, and nowadays I have to put more money, more time, way more energy into selling anyways.
Yeah,
so
these are the conversations we're also having with our
conversations
clients.
we're having,
absolutely.
Yeah, and it's tough, and we are finding it to be a bit of a standoff. So it's like, okay, we have to tell people. Like, I'm sure you're going through the same thing.
Exactly.
And then,
but it is weeding out agents who are kind of just jumped on board when everything was crazy and don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So now it's, the clients are going to the agents who actually can help them and can problem solve.
Exactly.
And are looking out for their own, for their best interest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I heard a statistic for just the Lakelands that 62% of all agents are doing one deal or more, like one or two deals this year. 35% are doing none.
Wow. I'm surprised it's not
None.
insane. Yeah.
And then the rest are doing
scary.
but you know why I say that is because I want everyone to hold on and have faith.
Yeah. It's not just you.
Yeah, exactly. Because some people are like, well, I haven't done a deal yet. I might suck at real estate. This is it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, change careers. And it's like, please don't do that. Please hold on.
Yeah.
Like,
Whenever that conversation comes up, I'm always like, I have no other skill set. So this is
you're a radio host now.
Like I'm like, I haven't had this is all I know. Like this industry. So I'm just doing what I can.
It translates into a lot of different things. So I mean, especially once you've been doing it for so long,
Yeah,
you can find other avenues for sure.
The other thing is just level up.
Yeah.
Just find, get a
now's
coach.
the time to level up.
Yeah, level up. Like figure out what's working, what isn't working. It's not going to be easy, but not things in life are not easy. And if it's worth it, you'll have
totally
to,
agree.
you got to work for it.
And it's only going to get better. It's not going to be like this forever. So just hang on. We have time now to get a coach.
Exactly.
Like before, you were so busy, you couldn't even
Yes.
get a coach, you couldn't go on podcasts, you couldn't market yourself. Like nowadays, there's even more clever ways to market yourself.
Well, people don't want to do the work, though. That's
know.
the thing.
Well, I
like
know.
you need to do the work. You need to put the time in.
Fair
You need
enough.
to spend the money if you have to.
Yeah.
Right. So
I agree.
Well,
You
it's
should always
even
spend more
finding
money.
cost efficient ways to be consistent. That doesn't always, it could be as simple popping in, seeing your past clients, or
Totally.
it doesn't have to be expensive. Like a Tim
Absolutely.
Hortons coffee on Sunday morning. I'm coming over to see you.
Yeah.
Show me your backyard.
Yeah.
And people like that more.
Yeah,
love that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Than
That's
just
attention.
sending
Yeah.
over a gift and getting your secretary to sign it because I'm so
Exactly.
busy. Like,
Yeah.
it became very impersonal. When it was so busy, it was so impersonal. And now, I think people do want to go back to service. They want,
I agree.
They want service. They want to see you. They want to know that you care.
I agree.
More than ever, they're questioning what is your worth? What are you? Why am I choosing you? So
Yes. Yeah.
we just have to show that human connection.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
Our
absolutely.
industry's so polarizing. It's like up and down, right?
I know, it's
So,
a wild
what do you
ride.
do in between? So what do you do in between?
So I go heavy into marketing and community events. I sharpen my axe. I try to get to know a lot more people in the industry. I do really well with referrals.
Yeah.
I do. And I love it.
That's how it should be, though.
It's how it should be, right?
Because that says a lot about who you are.
Yep.
Yes.
If people are referring you, that means, you know what? They liked you so much that they trust you with their family, their friends. It's a good indicator.
Yeah. And I do well with agent referrals too, because I feel like a lot of agents don't know a Muskoka agent because they don't branch out of Muskoka.
No.
Like I come here, I go to the events.
Now I know. So that's the first time we met. So definitely I would refer someone to you.
It's one of the reasons why I want to go on these podcasts. I want to talk to you guys. I want to, get my face out there because I want, when anyone thinks about Muskoka, they think about Holly Carrol.
I think
it's about the long game.
I think about it,
right?
Even without knowing, like, I just it's your thing.
It's
Why
my
not?
thing, right?
And you did it in such a short time, so that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I owe it to a couple of the other agents that I was starting with. And we just had fun with it because we really had nothing to lose. And then it got like, okay, how can I help with the Gravenhurst Against Poverty? Like, how can I really get into the community, which also makes you feel better, which also gives you more motivation to do better.
But you are on the ground seeing what's going on. Like that's what I find with community work. Like you see the ugly side, the bad, like what people are really going through. And you need to see that. It's very humbling. And it helps us, I think, understand overall where we want to go and how we want to help people.
Yeah. It's funny.
And you're aligning with people that have the same values as you.
Which is wonderful. I tell some people sometimes like a lot of people want to attract clients with a lot of money. Well, I don't want to just attract clients with a lot of money. I want to attract people with a good heart too. Yeah. Like people that get, because like that's just going to go so much further than me. I've had some clients that had a lot of money and they put me through hell.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So
what I hear kind of both of you saying is building that feel good feeling, right, within ourselves so that we can come from abundance and share that with the people that we meet, the people that we work with. And even if they're going through a hard time, being able to build that up within yourself, you can kind of give that to other people or at least help them see that.
And it goes back to like a lot of agents are struggling. We just gave the statistics. So what do you do when you're struggling? You help somebody else.
Yes,
Trust me, you'll feel better.
You do.
Trust me, you'll feel better.
It's even selfish in a way. It's like you're giving, but you're also giving to yourself at the same time.
But you're also realizing, you know what? You probably don't have it as bad as you think.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Sometimes when I talk to people, I was like, okay, it's not
like
as bad
if
as
anything's going to smarten you up, it's going to be that. Like,
it humbles you.
1,000%.
That's a good point.
I thought about that on the way here. I was like, one of the things I want to talk about is stop complaining about the market, stop complaining about other agents, and start finding gratitude within this industry. Like this industry has helped me do so many things that I would never have been able to do.
It's all perspective.
It's all perspective,
It's
right?
lack or abundance.
Yeah.
The more in lack you are, the more you attract it. The more in abundance, the more you attract that.
Yeah.
And who wants to be going out there and grinding? I want to attract what's good, So you got to be what's good in order to attract it.
Absolutely.
It's always changing your perspective too. Like if you find you're in an ugly situation, it's like, okay, where's the silver lining here? Because I know there is one. Of course. There always is one. It's just,
what lesson do I need to learn?
what lesson do I need to learn? And how can I look at this differently? And sometimes it just means talking to somebody else who might have a different idea about it.
Yeah.
Like sharing with your colleagues, just and that's why we have meetings and we have these podcasts because we can share with each other what our experiences are.
The best thing that I've been doing recently to make myself kind of feel a little bit better, because we're all struggling a little bit, is to talk to other agents about it. They're all feeling the same way.
Yeah.
In some capacity, they're all feel, for sure. Like when I need grounding, I call Mary Jo.
Yeah.
And she always says, "Oh, we've been here before." I'm like, I guess so. I guess we have. Like, it's just.
I love that.
Be grateful because we are at the head of our we are at the top of our game.
Yeah, we're doing well. Like we've both been at this for about 22 years.
Wow.
So we've seen this market.
Yeah.
A couple of times.
It's a cycle.
It is a
just
cycle.
What goes up comes down, and vice versa. And it levels out at some point. So.
That's how you describe it when you're having those conversations with people, finding those opportunities.
Yeah. Just be ready for it.
Yeah.
Prepare
There's
yourself.
always opportunity in every situation, right? So it's just finding that silver lining.
Yep. People need to be prepared too, though, right? Like it's education. It's really letting your clients know, like, hey, guys, you know what? Here's where things are going, which kind of leads us into our next question. Like, where do you see the market going in Muskoka over the next 5 to 10 years?
So right now we're still seeing a little bit of prices go down, but I think that they're going to go slowly back up because like you said, there's no more waterfront properties.
Yeah.
There's also majority of the people that buy there, the interest rates doesn't bother them as much. So
Are mostly people buying cash or would you say that they have?
yeah, I'd say a lot of cash buys for sure.
What is the minimum on
On a water?
yeah.
It used to be $1 million, but I am seeing, I think there's about 65 properties right now that are under $1 million. Now, I'm not saying
Really?
a
On the
lot
water?
under $1 million. Yeah, on
I don't
water.
think I would have expected that.
I never
Move-in
expected
I know.
that.
I say that a lot. On
Move-in ready?
Move-in
you-
ready.
Oh,
On the
Maybe
water?
we should be
On the
looking
water.
at
Call me. I've been saying this a lot on my social media because, listen, and you guys aren't wrong to have these faces because in 2021, that was not possible. In fact, $1 million wasn't even move-in ready. So, and I'm not talking about on the big three.
Okay.
There's
Name us the big three.
Lake Joe, Lake Rosso, Lake Muskoka. A lot of people think that's all of Muskoka.
Most people, yeah. Like, because I'm like, okay, well, which other lakes are there then?
There are 1,600 lakes in Muskoka.
Wow.
1,600 lakes in Muskoka.
Stop it.
Yes.
Well, those lakes feed into other
Yes.
smaller lakes, right?
So those three
Canada
lakes
does
feed
have,
into
like-
each other.
Canada's have the most
And
lakes
majority of
in
the
the world.
stuff that you're going to, so you can boat to the bar, you can boat to the LCBO, you can boat to the shopping. That's kind of where the action is.
Oh, very
But in Huntsville, I saw one of the ones was like, what's up and coming. In Huntsville, they have their own big three that all bleed into each other or feed into each other.
which lakes are those?
So it's Lake Mary, Peninsula, and Ferry, and you can you can boat to Huntsville with all that beautiful stuff on the water.
And that's where you can find a property for under $1 million?
Well, they're all over,
Okay.
but that is a very good spot to start. But they're all over now. When I have a client that wants a cottage, okay, I ask them what they want. And a lot of them want privacy. Well, Lake Muskoka isn't private anymore. Let me tell you. It is a party. I live on Lake Muskoka, by the way.
And everybody knows everybody's business.
Everyone knows everybody's business.
Yeah, I noticed. I went to see some friends on Lake Joe, and they took me around, and I'm like, it literally everybody knows everything.
Right? And you're like, that's that person, that's that person.
Yeah, that's what they were doing. They were showing me, and they knew everything about everybody. I was like, wow. Sorry, I know I keep hitting my rings on the table.
okay.
Sorry.
But no, there's so many beautiful lakes that are just serene. And they're big enough for boats. Like whatever you want, we can find you still that off the big three. And it's significantly cheaper off the big three.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right?
Interesting.
So
We're getting educated on Muskoka.
I mean,
Now I wanna
all of
buy-
us a cottage.
I see it. I
I think
already
we
see
should
it
buy
now.
one together.
Yeah.
The rare cottage.
Rare cottage. Oh, I like.
I like that too,
like that
actually.
too.
Ryan and Adam, if you're listening.
Ryan, Adam, please. Well, Ryan's always up there. Adam's always up there.
Yeah.
I see them up there.
I have never been to any of those lakes.
Well,
Come
you need to
I
on.
have been cottages, but like I'm always not spending the most amount of money. Like it's never those lakes. But cottage country is something I do every summer.
Yep.
We usually go for a week.
love
But yeah, I am lacking on going to the big three lakes. I
And you
definitely
don't, like, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That was a good point. You don't need to.
Oh, I do. It's just a breath of fresh air. Like it's so different from where I live that, show me a whole bunch of evergreens, lake access. I don't
think it really matters. Like,
It doesn't
honestly,
matter.
just being
It
around the
doesn't.
water.
but I would love to see what that looks like.
Well, I can take you out boating next time.
Yeah, I would love to.
I
see
live
what
right
it's
by
like.
the Key to Bala, so I am in the action.
Oh, cool.
But
Very
most people when they go up, they don't leave their cottage. They go up to their cottage, they get everything they need, and they just enjoy themselves. So you don't need to be on the big three.
Isn't that the idea, though?
That is the idea.
That's always our always our idea. Like
Yeah.
I live in the beaches, so for me, if I want to party, I just drive for 10 minutes. I can go to a
Yeah.
party. If I'm going up to the cottage, I want nature. I want peace. I want I want
Moons.
that. Yeah,
I think
know,
about going to the cottage and I'm like,
the
I'm going
moons
to read
are
a
great.
book. I'm actually
Right?
going to read a
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
Never happens. But it's
what is that? I thought it was only audiobooks.
podcast. Yeah, I always think, I have time. I'm going to sit down. I'm actually going to do something that I wouldn't do in the city. I'm going to go for a hike. I'm going to do something in nature. So to your point, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I think that was one of the reasonings for some of my success was just educating people on Muskoka. Like people didn't realize that that was the case. Like they thought it was the big three. That's it. They didn't realize how big it was. They didn't know. They thought it was out of reach for them.
That's
great.
I think that's a big point right there because
Yeah.
I wouldn't like. I'm in shock that there's an opportunity for that low. So what would an average frontage be for something under $1 million?
Well, again, it depends on what the lake is, but I mean, you can still get 100 feet on like a loon lake.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So 100 feet would be normal, typical,
Well,
or is it
for that
like
price,
50 to 100?
Yeah, if for that price, it's probably going to be around 50 to 100.
And would those be 4-season cottages as well?
It depends. It definitely depends. Also, do not let that scare you. A lot of people are like, oh, 3-season. Typically, what you need to do to change a 3-season into 4-season is maybe better insulation and a heated water line. So it's not that big of a deal. I have a lot of clients that, no, won't look at it. And it's like, well, wait a second here. Let's talk about how much money it would cost to make it a 4-season. You want to obviously look at the road that you go to get the cottage. If that's a 3-season, then you're not going to get a 4-season on a 3-season, right? And then, of course, if it's water access.
Okay. And like typically, would you find the roads are taken care of by the municipality? Okay.
Yeah. And if they're not, then they're usually sort of used by the whole cottage street. So everybody on the cottage throws in a pot of money and they get it maintained and snow removal and all that kind of stuff.
That makes it a bit easier.
Yeah. We've got it figured out up there.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited now. I'm thinking I like this.
The wheels are going.
Yeah, I am. I'm thinking, the rare cottage. I
Just
like
The
that.
rare cottage.
Don't wait too long because then the market will
there
go
you
back
go.
up and then we'll all be priced out again.
Thank you. And to wrap up what you just asked, that it will happen.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
That will happen. And
Yes.
the more that because people that are buying those 750 to $1 million, they're putting money into it, which adds the value and brings the value back up.
Yeah, and their plan isn't 2 years. Their plan is 5-7 years if they're going to sell it.
Exactly.
So the mentality is so different than in 2021.
Yeah, there's a big opportunity right now to invest in the Muskoka market, regardless of what you're going to do with it, whether you're going to rent it out or
What about
do some renos.
What about long-term renters? Like, who are there?
Not really.
Okay.
It's funny you asked that though, because I do have a lease right now that is on Bass Lake, and it's nobody cares.
Really?
It's for a long-term tenant because he just doesn't care about doing Airbnb anymore. It's kind of a pain for in the taxes. So he's wondering if we can get a long-term tenant. Nobody wants to be a long-term because nobody wants to live there in the winter.
Yeah.
Right? And if they do, they might as well buy.
Well, there's nothing going on in the winter at all.
Yeah.
Like
I'm not
dead.
there in the winter.
Yeah.
Oh, where do you go?
I usually go to Santa Teresa, Costa Rica.
Oh, that's awesome. You have to come visit Nosada.
Yes.
Have you been?
Yes, of course. My girlfriend lives there. I love Nosara, yes.
Okay.
So you're like 4 months, 6 months. Like how long do you go for?
a great life.
Typically,
We got to figure it out.
again,
absolutely.
3 years ago, I designed this life.
Yeah.
I really did. Like 3 years ago, this was not my life.
So you have people here that help you while you're away.
Yeah. So typically, because I do waterfront, not a lot of action happens anyways.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first winter that I left, I didn't have anybody, and I think I lost one client that I ended up getting back. So you're not going to lose a lot anyway. One reason, because you can't even see the water. It's frozen over during those times.
That's not
a good
It's
time.
not the safest thing to show anyway.
No,
right? Like,
exactly. And I see a lot of people throw up a cottage because it's weedy and think they're going to get away with it in the winter. They buy it and then they realize that it's weedy and that's not what they wanted.
Right.
So I try to advise my clients to
wait,
or at least try and find old pictures. But yeah, I have a girl that works for me while I'm away, especially if there's any residential properties that are one-offs, right? But again, I designed that lifestyle. So I typically leave December 26th and come back the end of March.
So you say you've designed that lifestyle about 3 years ago. So what's in the plans for the next 5 to 10 years?
Yes. So I would like to continue on with my public speaking. I'd like to speak around the world. A bit about real estate, but my big thing is about visualizing and believing in yourself and seeing yourself there before it happens. So I'd like to build that sort of platform. I'm writing another book called "You've Got the Magic Ink, Girl."
what was the first book?
Selling Secrets You Can't Afford to Miss.
Oh,
That's a real estate book. Yeah. So I'm writing another book, actually co-writing it with my girlfriend. And it's kind of a journal, but it's also riddled with stories. And the funny thing behind that is that whatever we write down comes true. We firmly believe that.
I love that.
I believe that too.
You do, don't you?
believe
So we
in
know
vision
this.
boards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right?
Manifestation.
And right. So, so she was saying, you're not going to believe this. This is what happened because I wrote it down. I'm like, you know why? Because you got the magic ink, girl. And we're like, that's the book.
Ooh, I like
that's
that.
the book.
I like that.
You got the magic
So
ink.
doing that, and the sky's the limit. I want to be iconic. I truly
My
do.
best friend and I talked about writing a book. We're going to call it The Shit Show.
Yes.
Somehow I can see that.
I'm sure you can.
So stories about real estate.
Well, a little mixture of everything.
Life, and how
I
real
love
estate
that.
fits in.
You should. Why not?
But I think
Why not?
real estate
Yeah.
is probably one of the only careers that's really based on life, because you're helping people kind of design their life
With
right?
emotions
Yeah, and
and-
it's
yeah.
emotion. They're going through divorces. They're going through whatever they're going through, and you're
But their
a
home is their
therapist.
bedrock, right?
Yeah,
Like that's the foundation of
exactly.
where everything happens.
Exactly.
So
It's
yeah,
very personal.
it is very personal, and the
That's why
financial.
it's so intertwined with self development, right?
Oh my gosh. Become a better
And
human,
it's
become a better
Yeah,
agent.
it's so important.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Okay, so funny question.
Oh,
What's your
gosh.
favorite fast food?
Oh my gosh. I hate to say this. It's not my favorite, but it's the only one in Muskoka, and that's Tim Hortons.
Okay.
Really,
It's the only thing.
really.
Like they have McDonald's, but you can't really have that all the time. And all I do is drive around because most of the cottages are completely spread out.
But it's not your favorite.
Well, that's what she's got access to.
Okay.
I mean, kind of.
But you travel a lot. So
But, like,
if you
the
had to pick,
donuts?
anything.
Like a pita pit's probably my favorite, but that's not really. I see.
I know the pita pit well.
Yeah.
I remember the pita pit from
But like
the
what
tour.
at Tim Hortons? Like donuts?
I
or-
actually don't even really like it, but it's like it's there, and I eat it a lot.
become a staple.
But probably Taco Bell would be my favorite, but it's nowhere in sight.
Yeah.
My stomach just started hurting just thinking about that.
I think there's one in Scarborough.
Is there?
Yeah, and the
I thought they
malls.
went out of business.
They did because
Yeah.
they're killing people.
Yeah, literally. Like it's some like
But
I
it's
saw
so
a bag
good
of-
from what everybody
so
says when they eat
good.
it. I don't eat it, but
And if you were to live somewhere in Toronto, what would be your favorite neighborhood?
Beaches for sure.
Yes,
Beaches.
for sure.
Because it does have
the
that water.
Yeah.
I need to be by the water for inspiration, I feel. The
You
water-
do
the
feel
water
like you're
gives me
outside of the city.
inspiration,
It does
yeah.
feel like a cottage.
Is that how you balance yourself? Like what gives you balance in your life?
Yeah, hiking, water, being around. The biggest thing for me is daily check-ins. Like, how am I feeling? Am I feeling a little
With
frustrated
yourself
with
or-
myself?
Okay.
Yeah, with myself. Am I feeling a little frustrated? Okay, what do I need? I tend because I want to be iconic. I tend to just stack everything without really realizing that I might need a break or I might need something. Huge on visualization and huge on meditation. And the reason why I meditate is to quiet the noise and hear my own inner voice, which can get lost sometimes.
Is there
Absolutely.
anybody that you would recommend that you follow in terms of
Gabby Bernstein.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
she's great.
I'm actually
Yeah.
speaking on stage with her on
Oh,
October
that's
29th.
amazing.
Yeah.
Tell us about
Wow.
So there's a huge wellness big convention happening at Evergreen Brickworks.
really?
And Dr. Cheval is going to be there, Kat Nat,
Ooh,
Dr.
Gabby
Chevalier,
Bernstein.
I'm reading her book, The Conscious Parent.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. I'm going to
yeah,
send you guys the
amazing.
links. You have to come.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
to
Like,
go.
it is
yeah.
going to be insane.
Oh, I'd love to go to that.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's going to be really
love it.
great. So
Yeah.
Gabby Bernstein for sure, because she talks about manifestation, but in such a simple way.
Yeah.
Like I just watched something on the way here, and she was like, before she was a motivational speaker, she was telling everybody, "I'm a motivational speaker." She's like, "Why do you have to get paid before you are feeling and telling people that you're a motivational
I'm
speaker?"
gonna start doing that.
Right? And I mean, to all the real estate agents out there, like, why do you have to become a top producer before you can feel like you're a top producer? Like you can't be something you're not consciously aware of anyways. So
Okay, you
act as
can
if.
feel it, but you probably shouldn't be telling people
Fair enough.
you're
Well,
a
even the top producer should be telling.
Yeah, you've never sold a property, but I'm a top producer.
just like own it and like act like
Yeah.
it, but don't
confidence
say
of
it.
it.
Don't
The
say
confidence
it.
of it.
It's the confidence
It's
of
confidence,
it.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And the way that I build my confidence is I visualize. So like I walked in here like multi-millionaire iconic Holly. Like
Yes.
I try not to. I'm almost delusional, to be honest with you, but it works.
I totally agree with that.
I pay very little attention to my bank account right now. I pay very little attention to the market that's happening right now, unless except for to educate myself. But like, I think about where I'm going, not what's happening right now.
That's a good way to be. Like, you just see, it's like driving. It's like, okay, I know where my destination is. I don't need to worry about everything on the side.
Right.
I don't need to get distracted. That's where I'm going. I'm doing it again.
Just download Waze.
That was a little one.
I'm doing it again. I know.
Right?
Yeah, she's always on me. I was a laggard when it came to downloading Waze. It took a long time to get there. I don't even use it.
Tell you where the police are.
Yeah, I know. I got it now, but even Waze screws up. Yeah, like
totally.
It's not as good as I thought it was, to be fair.
Well, it's better than not having it.
Well, I was using Google, but I mean, then I would end up going.
We're not going to start arguing in front of everybody right now about this.
So I just want to go back to, of course, what do you have? What are your tips for anybody who is really hungry right now and wants to get exposure on social media?
Of course.
That's a good one.
I'm going to probably use the C word that nobody likes. Consistency.
Yeah. Ooh, I was going to
and
say
I
something
know
else.
that there's two sides to consistency. One, people are like, oh, consistency is what I don't want to do. But it's the daily habits, daily, that will compound your interest and compound your efforts to make you somebody. Right. Consistency also takes away the nerves. Just do it, just do it every day and then kind of track it. Consistency makes you a better leader. It can track what you're doing, what's working and what's not working. Yeah. Consistency. Also, post when you're inspired. Don't post when you're not inspired. So how do we do that? We got to get inspired. So what gets you inspired? Maybe it's watching a podcast. Maybe it's going out in nature. So I'm always creating content and then stacking it. Yeah. So one day I'll be so inspired. It's like, today's the day I'm like putting on a different type of briefcase and I'm going to do a bunch of content. If you did it every single day, create and then post, it's too much.
It is exhausting.
It's exhausting. So batch content, right?
And it becomes a job and it doesn't feel authentic and it doesn't come across authentic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then for social media, I would say create more than you consume. Because what ends up happening is then you're comparing yourself to others. It's a rat hole. We all know that.
I don't even have a TikTok account. I just don't. Because
you actually do.
Well, I don't use it.
You actually do, Mary Jo.
But I don't use it. I refuse.
Because I created it.
Yeah. You can go down this rabbit hole.
Not a personal
comparison is the silent killer.
It's the thief of joy.
Yeah, it is.
Exactly.
Like, even myself, I catch myself and I'm looking and then your mood will change. And it's like, what am I doing? Just put it down, do something else.
Absolutely. Yeah. Create more than you consume. Absolutely. And then when you go and get inspiration, make sure it's inspired, but not copied, right? Because it doesn't come out authentic.
Right.
Right. I would also, for social media, find out who you are, find out what you like.
Yeah.
Right. And if whatever you are, just be that. And
you do your own social media?
I do my own social media. Yeah. I do. And you know what? I've thought about not. Yeah. I've thought about not because sometimes I'm like, oh, I got to post again. And I go down the rabbit hole and like, I still get like, I don't like social media right now, so I have to take these social media breaks. But then again, it all stems from like me being inspired again. But I thought about asking somebody else to do my social media and I just can't because it's not about creating or turning leads into transactions for me. It's way more than that for me. Social media is about inspiring people. It's becoming an icon. It's actually having a voice on there. I'm also in real estate, so I'm going to show you what I can and can't do and all that kind of stuff. But it's way bigger than.
I like to building your icon brand, like stuff that's interesting to people, lifestyle stuff. Like
exactly.
Things of interest, not just real estate.
Yeah. That's how you relate.
What I love about what you said is kind of like just a summary is like you're creating the feeling. You're not waiting for an event to happen in order for the feeling to happen because of the event. You're creating the feeling and then allowing things to happen from that space.
Absolutely.
That's huge. That's kind
a
of
great way to say it.
Like that's a common denominator of a lot of the things that you're saying, I believe. And I really, that resonates with me a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I do want people when they go to my page to have an experience, to have an emotion, to feel something, to be inspired. You know, like you would if you went to Gabby Bernstein's page.
Yes.
I honestly want to come to that. That sounds
Okay,
amazing.
good.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think,
in.
Yeah, I think we'll all be
Sure,
going.
I'm in. I need a little bit of this in my life.
Have you heard of Joe Dispenza?
Of course I
I
have.
love Joe Dispenza.
Of course I have.
Yeah.
He just did a walk for the world. Did you see
Yes,
that?
I did it.
I did it.
That's amazing.
Sorry.
That's almost like my rings.
I know. Did we just are you friends?
Yeah, like, are you two friends?
Shh, don't tell them. Yeah, I feel like you guys are very, very aligned.
Oh, so
And you know
good.
what? That's the thing. Is like a lot of people think this stuff is woo-woo or not. It's all about brainwashing yourself to feel better.
Yeah.
Because when you feel better, you start to see the world clearer and you start to attract what aligns.
I think a lot of people are starting to understand that more since COVID.
I agree.
You know, like because we came out of something that was just so terrible and horrific and so many experiences were so awful that you need to find a better way.
Yeah.
You just need to.
Well,
And
we didn't realize we were in a systematic sort of rat race.
Absolutely.
Like I look back at my lifestyle when I lived down King West. I'm like, I don't even know how I did that.
It was a huge awakening. Like it was a wake up call. And I've been in well, I'm a child and family therapist from like college and university. So I thought I was, so aware and just kind of knowing what I'm doing. But what I realized is I was asleep for a long time and didn't even realize it, right?
Yep.
Just kind of fall into the patterns and then you just live your life from that place.
That's true.
This was a huge wake up call.
I think it was. I mean, you would know, like we did a lot more charity work during COVID and then especially with the Gravenhurst stuff and
with
Beat It
Jagger.
Forward. And it's, it was worse then than ever.
I know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, seeing that kind of stuff really, really puts things in perspective and makes you think, okay, well, how can I revamp things and think differently and change my perspective about the way that I want to be as a person towards other people, towards myself.
Yeah. And I mean, even thinking about your comment about social media and people that are hungry, like, who do you want to be in this industry? Like, I wanted to be the real estate queen of Muskoka before I was the real estate queen of Muskoka. Like, I grew into that brand. So if you're starting out, that's awesome. You literally get to be whatever you want to be and whatever feels good for you. You know, if you want to be the beaches queen, go for it.
So how would you think to get somebody to believe that? Like, where would they start?
Well, you can start with visualizing. You can start with being around other people that lift you up. These podcasts help.
Yeah.
Like getting in the community. Like, what makes you the beaches queen? You know, for me, that's what I did. I would go around in my community and I would help my community. I would, establish myself at different events and shake hands and kiss babies. Like, I became that queen of Muskoka,
Yeah, you're part of the community. And I think you also align yourself with like-minded people, which makes a huge difference.
Part of it and built your community. Built yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because you were just started out. So you built it around you too.
100%.
You're the nucleus of it all.
Yeah. Your environment's very important.
Yeah. And you're a product of it.
What would you say is some of your best real estate stories?
Oh. So I have a funny story.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
So
we like those.
my very first client in Muskoka, he lived in the bridle path. And at this point, he was looking for like a $4 million cottage in Muskoka. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like my ticket, right? And at that point, $4 million is like $12 million now.
Yeah.
And we saw so many cottages and I thought this guy was for real.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
We see where this is going.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Thought this guy was for real. We even put an offer in on a place. Yep. Got the offer.
Conditional.
No. Oh, yeah. So got the offer and he had to put the deposit down within 24 hours. But he made up all of the excuses. And I don't know how this lasted, but it lasted 3 weeks.
Without the deposit?
With excuses, day after day after day. He would showed us a ticket that he was flying to Detroit to get it to his bank because the bank here wouldn't allow him because his
Tinder swindlered a swindler.
Tinder swindlered.
Oh my God.
Oh wow.
There's a lot more to that
Oh
that
my
were
gosh.
pictures that should not be spoken about. But wow, was this a whirlwind? Now, when I look back though,
Was this at the beginning of your career?
This is my beginning of my career. Yeah.
Okay.
I look back that now, though, I'm almost grateful because now those agents in that level know who I was. Because I was showing their properties, right? They're like, who's Holly? Like, why is she showing these $4 million properties? They didn't know he wasn't real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do thank him for that, but it was a mess.
How did you get out of it?
So luckily the listing agent we became friends. And he was like, listen, I'm just going to put it back in the market. But it could have been really bad for me.
Oh, for sure.
Like if he had have tried to fight back and yeah.
Well, there's two things there that I see. Like that mindset is you kind of shifted it to make it, you know, what do I get out of this situation instead of this was bad, I can't stand people, you know, you actually turned it into something positive.
Totally. I saw a lot of really nice cottages and I posted them on my Instagram. So it looked like I was doing a lot of work.
Well, and you learned something.
Yeah.
Right? Like
And
that was a
red
good learning
flags.
lesson.
Yeah,
And
red flags.
Qualifying is like one of the biggest things in our industry.
I know.
Like qualifying, because people are time wasters.
They are.
Yeah. And you even think that they're your realtor and you're their client, they're your client. And then you have many conversations with them and then you have another conversation. You're like, where were you in that conversation we just had?
Yeah.
But
I think
requalifying is big.
Right. And I think for younger agents too, or agents that are just starting out, you see that and you just are like, well, I want this to be real.
Yeah.
Well, they're so hungry and they'll take anything. And I remember I was that person too. Like I would
100%.
waste so much time on tire kickers who just, you know, had no intention of ever buying. But I just had the belief that, you know, if I get all these people that I'm wasting all this time with, it'll be great.
It'll be great. Yeah.
And you learn.
You learn. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and you take the best out of it. Like you get the experience. And,
That's what it is.
Yeah, and you're like you said, it's the consistency of you're out there doing showings, even if they're full of it. You're still doing the showings, so you're looking at each thing that you do rather than the outcome. Like each what's the word I'm looking for?
It's like a building block.
Yeah.
Love that.
So that's my best and my worst.
On that note, thank you so much, Holly, for being on the Rare Agent podcast. Thank you to our new hosts, Mary Jo and Murray.
This was fun. We really enjoyed
Thank you,
this.
Christina, for asking us.
No problem. And we'll see you next Thursday, 9:00. And have a great week, guys. Bye for now. And don't forget to like, subscribe. We're on all the channels where you can find us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I killed it.